Hi, I'm Chesney Hawkes. Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
I am the one and only. Nobody I'd rather be. I am the one and only. Subscribe to the Sarah O'Connell Show with me. Not a degrading moment. It was my highlight of my career. We have the same
Welcome.
couch as well. Well, I mean, similar. It's
Yeah,
a dark couch.
it is a dark couch.
My camera keeps going out of focus. I'm so sorry about that.
That's
I'll
okay.
just, maybe I'm just feeling a bit fuzzy today.
That makes sense. I have days like that. My best lighting's in a cinema when the lights have gone off.
You look bloody gorgeous.
Thank you very much. So your screen is blurred as well, it turns out. Chesney Hawkes, welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. How are you today?
I'm very well. I'm happy. I'm in Los Angeles, which is where I live, and I've just got back from kind of touring and stuff. So I'm here for a week. I get to spend some time with my lovely wife and my dogs and my oldest son, which is really lovely. And the
Really?
sun's out.
Always is in LA, apart from about one day a year when it rains.
That's right. Never trust anywhere where the sun always shines.
It's true. Although it gets crazy cold at night. Middle of the summer, really warm. And then nighttime, it's just freezing.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that about?
I don't know. I lived there for a year, so I'd go to the cinema and I'd come out and I'd think I was in Antarctica or something.
Where did you live?
I lived in Newbury Park in Thousand Oaks.
Ah, nice. Deepest,
Yeah.
darkest valley, the hottest part
Mhm.
of the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Studio City here.
Oh, very nice. I can't wait to go back. I've got a bunch of friends over there that
Okay.
making the show and things. And I'm going to Philadelphia in 2 weeks.
Wow. I love
Mhm.
it. You got a busy life. You're like an international celebrity now.
Something like that. I'm like one except for the celebrity bit. Sometimes I'm international.
I've seen all your celebrity pals like, telling you how wonderful you are. So
Yeah, it's very kind. Thank you. I try my best.
I just want to join the masses. I know a good thing when I see it.
Well, likewise, which is why you're here today. Interviewed all the other people building up to you.
Well, that's exactly what I was hoping you'd say.
Yeah, as you'll see as this interview progresses. Been a fan for a while, actually. So before we get started with all that good stuff, though, you are, of course, a legendary singer. But can you tell me what you aspired to be when you were growing up?
To be honest with you, I never wanted to do anything else but music. I was always music, music, music. Right from literally, my dad said I came out singing. That's true. And so I never had a backup plan, never had a proper job. And maybe that's why I did all right, because, I think if you have that kind of tenacity, and passion for what you do, and no backup plan, there really is no option to fail.
I think that's the best thing. When you've got that passion, it keeps moving you forwards, doesn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. I still have the same passion for music now. I can't pass a guitar without picking it up. It's just part of me, and
Yeah.
it's stuck with me all the way through. And obviously, there's been some, good times and bad times and everything, but the music's always been there for me, and I am very, very grateful for it. And even now, like, still have the same feeling about it.
All the best times of my life, I can think of a song that I've attached to it. And,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
worst parts of my life, I can think of the song that got me through it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think music is an emotional connector.
Yeah.
This is why what we do as artists, and when we put music out, you have to kind of like let it go off and do its own thing and make its own emotional connections with people.
Mm.
Really that side of it has nothing to do with us as an artist. You know what I mean? You have to kind of relinquish responsibility of it, or ownership of it, I should say, and then it belongs to people that have those connections.
And it's a fascinating thing, actually, to think that every song you've ever listened to is probably somebody's favorite song.
So true. Yeah. That is an incredible way to look at it. Yeah. It's beautiful.
And can you tell me which artists inspired you when you were growing up and which ones you still love today?
Yeah. Number one was Beatles.
Yep.
I discovered my dad's record collection at a very early age. It was like 80% Beatles.
Oh, wow.
So obviously my dad was a big fan. He loved Elvis as well. But I mean, I love Elvis too, but Beatles were everything to me. Songwriting wise, I don't think I would be the songwriter I am without Beatles. To be honest, I think a lot of songwriters, would say that. that Lennon and McCartney were, everything. Prince was another one.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out, his biggest kind of breakthrough was Purple Rain obviously he had a lot of success before that, but that was the biggest breakthrough. And I was probably 13, 14 when that came out, and it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
That that artist, how he kept the mystique as an artist, how he used himself as a canvas to kind of promote his vision of himself. I mean, only David Bowie really did that before Prince, and I just feel like musically he had everything. He could do everything to the highest quality. From the songwriting to the musicianship to the production to the performance to the singing, just everything. There's a quote from Eric Clapton. Somebody asked him, "What's it like to be the best guitarist in the world?" And he said, "I don't know. Ask Prince."
Love that.
So yeah, Prince, huge influence on me. But there's so many. I love Elvis Costello, Stevie Wonder. Even going back to my dad's record collection, I loved bands like the Kinks. That kind of raw rock
Yeah.
and roll kind of stuff.
Amazing.
But so many artists have inspired me over the years.
There's these sort of generational artists that shatter your expectations of what a performer can be and what a song can be, like
Totally.
Bohemian Rhapsody or something. It's just unlike anything else.
Yeah, how do you even start writing a song like that?
Yeah.
It is so true. There are certain records that you just think, I have no idea how you even started that song,
Yeah.
But I love the debates when you talk about, you get into songs like Blackbird, for instance, like that. What came first? Was it the song or was it the guitar part?
I can never write a song like that, but I'm also just grateful my mum never killed a man, so I didn't have that as inspiration.
No, that's true. I'm not sure that I had that. It's possible I could have had that, but maybe I blocked it out.
Yeah, it's probably best to, isn't it? The lyrics would have to be, my mama also killed a different man.
Exactly.
She blamed it on their neighbor.
How do you know about that? I never told anyone that. Buried him in the backyard.
Yeah, makes sense.
No one would think to look there.
I just had an animated emoji thing come out of you, and I don't know why.
I saw that.
What was
I was
that?
doing this with my hand.
Yeah.
Let's try and do it again. No. Yeah, there you go. How mad.
But in the future.
Go on, you try it. See
Can
if
you
it
do
works
that in
for
real
you.
life? Does that happen just when you're on the street?
Yes. Yeah. There you
I
go.
can make it happen. Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is not just a Zoom thing for me. It's just,
Yeah.
I do that. Yeah, everywhere I go.
It's just a special ability you have. You're now animated, which is fantastic. Your FX budget must be astronomical.
I have to just hold my hands in. Okay, there you go. See that cupboard over there? That's where my special effects man lives. So he's
Best
just
place
going to
for
doing
him.
it all.
I can just see his head poking out of the top.
Yeah. Yeah. There. Yes, you can just see if you look closely enough.
Exactly. So you rose to fame, of course, playing the lead in the 1991 film Buddy Song, which is based on a book. And I have to thank you because that very year I was at secondary school, just started secondary school and studying English, and we were reading the first book in the series, Buddy.
Wow. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, I heard that happened. And Buddy Song as well came into the curriculum. You probably didn't read that one. You just read just the first
Oh,
one.
I did afterwards, yeah.
You did, right. Okay. Yeah. Because I heard that it was part of the curriculum and you were kind of like reading it through the semester, and then at the end they wheeled in one of those TVs on wheels into the classroom to watch me do my thing.
That's exactly what happened. And there were some scenes in the first book that we had to, for some reason, do storyboards for. And imagine if we weren't making it into a film, what the dialogue would be and stuff like that. But because I knew what the characters in the film looked like, I drew you and your dad in it.
That's great. So the floppy blonde hair made it into your sketchbook.
You'll be thrilled to know. So can you tell me how you first heard about that role and if there's any kind of audition process?
Well, okay, when I first heard about it, I was just having my wisdom teeth out and I'd just woken up from general anesthetic and I had cotton wool gauze in my mouth. And I remember it was all kind of a bit fuzzy and I saw my mum and dad kind of like standing over the bed. I was probably 17 maybe. And Roger Daltrey was on the TV in the corner of the room on Good Morning Britain or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
trying to appealing for a young boy that could possibly be his son, play his son in a film. And I remember it in a fuzzy way, and I returned to my dad. I want to do that, and I couldn't talk because I had to go. I want to do that. So, so we did. So literally, like the next week, I found myself at a kind of open casting call, like a X Factor style, young boys all around the block type of thing. Um, and stars aligned for me, Sarah. And
Just a bit.
yeah, I was lucky, I think, but I was, maybe right for the role. I could sing, play guitar. I was right age to be Roger's son, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, and I just kept getting called back, until it got to me and one other kid called Cal, who I never stayed in contact with. I felt guilty about that because I really liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cal, if you're watching the Sarah O'Connell show, which you should be, get in touch. I'd like to see what you're doing these days.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah, that last bit was like a screen test type of thing, and we turned up to Bray Studios in Berkshire, or is it in Surrey? I don't remember now. But it was where the Who were rehearsing for one of their farewell comeback tours, and I had to do a scene where Roger slapped me, so a very emotional scene, and I just never acted before, so I just thought he would pretend to slap me,
Right.
but no, this is fucking Roger Daltrey we're talking about, and he walloped me. That's probably why I got the part because there was real tears. I wasn't acting.
Some people don't act right when they're hit in the face during auditions.
I, I was so shocked by it. I didn't expect it.
No. I reckon they put that scene in the film just so we could spend a day doing that.
Yeah, and because you have to, once you do it once, you have to be slapped like 15 times because you have to do all the different angles.
Yeah.
I a very red face on one side of my face that day.
It's a bit of a problem. That's why the hair helped, because you could.
The hair was covering it, so that helped.
Mm,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were probably like, right, we've got two options. One is we set up just more than one camera. Two is we just slap you 58 times around the face.
And they went for option two.
They did, yeah.
It's child abuse, really. If you think
It's,
about it.
it's most unnecessary.
Mm.
So I was going to ask you next what your favorite scene to film or to watch back is. I'm guessing it wasn't the slap.
No, but funny enough, in my acoustic tour that I've just been doing, I have that scene set up as because I asked people if they'd ever seen the film, and a lot
Yeah.
of people haven't seen it. So I'm like, would you like to see a little clip? And so I roll that clip, and so yeah, that's not a scene I like to watch because I've seen it so many times. It's probably the scene I've seen the most. But
Yeah.
weirdly enough, I watched the film again with my kids not too long ago because they had never seen it.
Yeah.
And I was most perturbed at the beginning of the film of all um the shots of the American flag of the old Confederate flag.
I noticed that because I watched it today. They're on the wall in
Yeah.
the pub, weren't they?
Yeah, and of course now it's a very incendiary. Obviously back then maybe it wasn't such an
Mm.
incendiary thing, but now you can't show the bloody Confederate flag. Guess it's just a different time.
Yeah. After I saw that, I was on the lookout for statues. What else is in this film?
Yeah, what other hidden racist monuments can we get into? I know. Luckily, it stopped there because that first scene was like a teddy boy convention type of thing. So
Yeah.
it was all old American cars and Cadillac, and basically it's kind of memorabilia from the 50s Americana, which the Confederate flag, I guess, was a big part of.
And I guess too,
Yeah.
because they're set in England, they just had whatever American stuff they could find.
Exactly. I bet they didn't even realize the connotations of it.
It was pre-internet.
It was absolutely was pre-internet. Of course it was, yeah. And I've lived in America now for the last 12 years. And of course, first thing my kids saw, I was like, you got to see this film that I was in, And they were like, Dad, that's racist. Well, okay.
But that's
You're
what that
right.
film is. Yeah, it's one of the most shocking films of the 90s.
It is. It is indeed.
There was American History X. There was Buddy Song.
Indeed.
And in fact, wasn't it rated 12 and there wasn't a 12 classification on video back then?
I think you're right. I mean, I think the
Hmm,
reason it wasn't the Confederate flags that made it a 12 race, it was a pair of breasts. Did they show that in school?
don't remember.
You don't remember the breasts? See, I remember the breasts, you see.
Well, that makes sense that you would.
It does really, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Although I did watch the film today, so I remember them from that.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I have to thank you, by the way, because you uploaded the entire thing on YouTube, which was
I
very
did.
helpful. Thank you for that.
Yes. You're very, very welcome. It was never released on DVD, you see.
It should get a 4K steelbook release, tons of extras. Who do we write to for this?
Well, I think Roger would probably have to be number one on that list. But it's weird because I have actually tried over the years to try and to get a release, a proper release for it,
Hmm.
because it does have a following, that film, and I'd like to see it, either released on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, or even just kind of like sold for Netflix or something like that.
Yeah.
But there were so many people involved. There was a real political situation there. But a bunch of the people that kind of like originally invested in it, there was hundreds of them apparently, and they were all like offshore people and stuff. This is before my time, I know,
Yeah.
and so none of them kind of, you can't get hold of them anymore. Half of them had probably died.
Hmm.
So so the actual intellectual property rights, and we don't really know who owns it.
Hmm.
So that is the issue.
Could you try just releasing it and see if they notice? And if they
Well, that's
contact
what
you, at least you know who to contact.
I absolutely have said that to my manager, and he's like, it's a risk, but maybe we'll be willing to take it.
Yeah.
Tell him that Sarah told me to do it.
Yeah. I think that's fine.
It's Sarah's idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone called Sarah. I'll go. Yeah, I'll back that up. Someone called
Okay.
Sarah called you that.
Okay. I
I'll
won't
do it.
say your surname. I'll just
No.
say someone called Sarah said that this was okay.
But then if you could separately say a different Sarah says, could you subscribe to the Sarah O'Connell show? But it's, just to clarify, it's not the same Sarah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Let me just write
Just do
notes
all of
so
your
that
Sarah admin in
I've got
one
that.
go. Just tell them everything about every
Yeah,
possible Sarah.
everything Sarah related. I'll just
Hmm,
do it all in one go. Okay,
I think so.
it's a deal. Yeah. Oh, I adapt. It makes sense. It does.
It does to me. And yeah, even if the film was available where you can rent or buy films, say it was just available to stream or something, that'd be good.
Well, it would. I would like that. Although if it was available to stream on Netflix or Amazon or whatever, I wouldn't be able to direct people to my YouTube page.
That is also a problem.
Yeah.
Which people should go, just to say that right now, everyone should go to your YouTube channel, subscribe, watch all the goodness on there, spanning well over a decade. There's music videos, there's live sessions, loads of good stuff. There's an entire movie.
Exactly. It's a very entertaining channel.
Yeah. I mean, the movie, aside from the flags, reminds me of, because I grew up in the 1980s, and I remember at the time there were all these legendary films that weren't available, like The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that had been
Yeah.
banned from video. It's basically like that. So you should go to your
Yeah.
channel just to watch this otherwise unavailable film.
Controversial banned film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The extreme film. Your guitar gets taken at one point in a car park, someone gets pushed around in a trolley, then lands in some
Yeah,
boxes.
it's exactly. It's so violent.
Yeah. You couldn't do
Yeah.
that today.
No, we can't show it on TV. So, come to my YouTube page.
You should highly recommend it. So there's quite a few songs in that movie, and I'd like to talk about one of them with you now, which was called the One and Only, which is of course one of the best songs of all time, and I genuinely mean that. It's a song that every time it comes on, I will sing along to it. I'll turn it up. It's just one of those songs I've just always loved. Admittedly, you've probably heard it a bit more than me, but I don't think
probably
it's
have.
by much.
Okay.
I don't know. I think
Okay.
it's quite
Well,
comparable.
we could swap notes, but
We should.
I think I probably win, but
Well, it depends how long my notes are.
that is true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The song spent 5 weeks at number one. It was featured in films such as the opening of Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox. It was in Duncan Jones's Moon and Source Code. How did that song change your life? Your first movie, you're unknown at that point, and then you've got this big film, big soundtrack, huge song.
Yeah, I mean, it changed everything really, because I went from, being the guy in the corner of a pub playing Elton John songs to, selling out arenas literally within weeks. It was crazy. So it changed my life. I mean, fame is going to change anyone anyway. It's a weird thing, fame. It's very strange. And I remember at the time thinking, my life is not my own anymore, you know? I don't feel that way about fame now because
Yeah.
you can make the most of it, and but it never goes away. It's kind of relentless, you know? I mean, I'm a people person. I don't mind talking to people, and I like people. But if you weren't a people person, like someone like Van Morrison or something,
Yeah.
who's not really into people, it must be really difficult because people want to talk to you all the
Mm.
time, you know. Uh, so yeah, it changed everything. It's just like a bit of a defining moment in my life, that one, I guess, you know. Unfortunately, people do define me by that 6 months in
Yeah,
my
of
life
course.
when I was 19, which can be a little bit frustrating, Sarah, as you can
Yeah.
imagine.
Well, you will be pleased to know that later in this interview, I'm going to get to the other stuff too, but I do tend to do things chronologically. So there's no good way around it.
Okay, no, we'll start at the top. We start at the
Yeah,
beginning. It's
I
it's
think
good.
so. As we've just mentioned, you became very famous very quickly. How did you handle it at the time? And knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to someone else in that same situation?
That's a really good question. Advice would be to well, first of all, you asked me how I handled it. So I have a good family, and my family were around me. My
Mm.
dad had been through um, the kind of machine, the pop machine,
Yeah,
and seen the pitfalls, and lost friends, and had some good advice for me from those early days, and actually traveled with me in those early days. That was really helpful. And my brother was in my band and still is.
yeah.
Jody, he's been my drummer since day one, and you know, if I at all kind of let any of that go to my head, Jody would have just called me an idiot, and you know what I mean? He definitely helped keep my feet on the ground for sure.
Good.
And advice I would give to people now, yeah, I mean, is not to believe any of it. That's the thing is, it's not real,
Mm.
Sarah. You know what I mean? None of it is real. And at the time, they're so young, 19 years old, for something like that to happen, where you're literally caught up in this like hurricane, but you're like in the eye of the storm. If you know what I mean? Like everything around you is like, and sometimes you've got this little nugget of reality, which is your family and people around you and people that you love. But then you just kind of like dip into it and you're gone, you know? Um, it's like not believing anything that's written about you, whether it's good or bad. I like the thought of staying neutral,
Mm.
you know, because that will keep you from one kind of you believing all the hype and just kind of believing that you're more than just a human being. Um, and then obviously the bad stuff, like, which you're going to do it, haters going to hate and all that. So don't believe that either, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to do because when you see, bad reviews or people that got nothing better to do than call you a wanker on Twitter, you
I
can't.
don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry. I was just having a bad day.
Yes, I forgive you. I
Thank you.
forgive you. It's okay. Yeah. But that's it. Stay neutral. That would be my advice, and just concentrate on the fact that why you're doing it. It's like music is, if you love music, and that's why you do it. You can lose track of that in the whole kind of celebrity, and it's very different now. I mean, back then there was no reality TV and no internet.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a different world.
And so you mentioned you still have to talk a lot about the 6 month period in your life. Has your relationship with that changed over the years? Have you had times when you've wanted to move away from it and then other times you've embraced it more?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, and it's absolutely true. I've had ups and downs with it. I didn't play the song for probably a decade after that period.
Yeah,
In fact, I didn't even like go out under my name. I formed bands. I just wanted to be in Radiohead at that point in the
right.
mid '90s. I just I turned up to 11 in my guitar and just shoegazed, and I, you know, anytime anybody asked for the one and only or recognized me, I just tell them to bugger off, and
Yeah.
and I very much rebelled against that. was good times for me, actually. I felt like I kind of um, paid my dues the wrong way round, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
Had the success, and then I went and played the shitty clubs where your amp blows up and nobody comes, and all of that stuff. But they were good times. I was broke as well, and like it's funny how those moments in life you're some of the best times, and you have great memories from those days. But then embracing the song around around kind of like turn of the century, I got a couple of gigs come in or offers, for universities,
Yeah.
and they wanted me to go out as Chesney Hawkes and wanted me to play that song. So I was like, okay, and I was really nervous because it was a university thing. So I thought those people would have been like 9 years old when the song came out, and here we are 10 years later, and they're not going to know who the hell I am. Um, and the song, I don't know. But what I didn't realize was that the song had gone off, and as we were talking about earlier on, made those connections with people and kind of been handed down like a mantle, and it become like a student anthem over
Yeah.
those years, and almost had like a cult kind of following, if you know what I mean. And so those gigs were amazing, and I could feel the energy in the crowd as soon as I played that song, and I never really looked back from those days, and I just kind of embraced me as an artist from then on.
It's amazing. Now, I need to go back to the film for a moment because I've since discovered it contains a very dark secret. So,
Okay.
so you're known for the song "The One and Only," yeah.
Yes.
The film is based on a book. It's the second in a trilogy. The first book,
Yeah.
Buddy, which I mentioned earlier, I studied at school. I didn't know this, was a 1986 BBC 5-part TV series, which also starred Roger Daltrey as Buddy's
And
dad,
Wayne Goddard.
Wayne Goddard. So yeah, that's exactly it. So 2-part thing. One is I found out that you weren't the one and only Buddy. And 2, did you ever meet Wayne?
Yes, I did. So Roger got together all three buddies,
Oh wow.
and we all met up and we brought our kids. This was probably 12, 13 years ago now, something like that. And we all went down to Sussex to Roger's house. And so there was Wayne, who was our cab driver.
Right.
And there was me, and then there was another guy called Bob Goulding who played Buddy in a kind of like a musical stage production.
Yeah.
And we all got on like a house on fire, and all of our kids liked each other, and we did a little bit of fly fishing in Roger's trout farm. And it was all rather jolly. It was like all three buddies. You're right.
That's
I'm not the
amazing.
one and only.
Yeah.
You're the only one that has brought that to our attention,
That's what I
to the
do.
zeitgeist.
Yeah. Shocked myself when I found out and realized
It's
that.
shocking. No, it is shocking.
Mm.
It is rather shocking. Yeah.
But then I was thinking about it and I was like, hang on a minute. You're singing this song knowing someone else played the character. Is this song actually a diss track?
You're serious, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get.
Before Eminem,
Yeah,
it was you.
yeah. I was the original Eminem.
You were.
I think I could probably argue that the one and only was never really sung by Buddy.
Mm.
Kind of came along after the film, so it
Yeah,
wasn't
true.
it wasn't a Buddy song,
Mm.
really.
Yeah.
So if I was going to be, in a courtroom and on trial for this terrible crime, I think that would be my argument.
And you also did say you're not the same as all the rest.
Well, I'm
Hinting
not,
at the
am
other
I?
buddies. No, but the other buddies even.
I was
You're not the same
taunting.
as them.
Yeah, exactly. Hinting that I'm not the same. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Okay. Yeah.
Told you I thought about the song a lot.
You, you did. If it ever came to trial, would you be a character reference for me?
I'd give you a pretty good appraisal, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm on your side.
Yeah, I'm glad. Because I was a little worried there for a minute.
I'm just telling you the thought process I had while watching the film
Yeah.
today.
No, it's good. It's unique. I've never had that before. And now that it's out there, I'm a little bit worried that I could get that, you have been served. Like every person walking along the street, I'm going to be worried now, you
Yeah.
know?
You're going to be singing I Am the One and Only, and people will be shouting out, no, you're not. There's these two.
Perhaps, I mean, perhaps I should stop singing it.
That's right. No, don't. I'm quite a fan.
You don't want to be the one to have stopped
Oh,
me
God,
from
that'd be
singing the
bad,
one and
wouldn't it?
only, do
Can you imagine?
you?
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would be forever known in
Just for
that
that.
way.
Just for that one
Just,
thing. For breaking that
yeah,
song.
yeah. And interviewing Hollywood A-listers, of course.
Yeah. Completely buggered everything. I'm gonna have to cut this whole scene out now. This is a disaster.
Yeah, it's just cut.
Yeah. So welcome to my show. So you became known in the 2000s and nothing else happened before that.
Nothing happened before that.
No,
No,
absolutely not.
no. Known as the wilderness years.
It was great albums, by the way. You should seek them out.
Okay, thanks for, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I can imagine you having like a range of shower gels.
More
Oh,
hairspray, really,
yeah,
with
nice.
that
I like
hair.
that. That's good.
Yeah.
So you also released several other albums over the years. Get the Picture, Another Fine Mess, Marvelous Mechanical Mouse. Love that name, by the way. Real Life
Thank you.
Love. Have you got a favorite?
They all have a special place in my heart. It's like asking me to choose my favorite child. I'm happy to do that if you want.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it.
There goes my next question.
Yeah. I love them all equally. No, it's funny because they're all they're very different. I love them all for different reasons. Like obviously Buddy Song was like my big break, and those songs they have such a kind of like youthful energy that I absolutely love. And I've just been rediscovering them recently just because I've got this big headline show coming up in Kentish Town in May. Yeah, it's a big one. So I've just been kind of going back on the catalogue and playing old songs like Ordinary Girl and Nothing Serious, and some of them are really fun to play, but like, okay, so let's go through them all, then Get the Picture. I was a period in my life where I was just working with Nick Kershaw a lot, and I still love that album. It was never even released in England. It did all right in Europe, funnily enough. Never even got a release. It was just crazy. And then Another Fine Mess was kind of like my comeback after those years, if you know what I mean. For like, I made loads of records, fun enough, that were never released as different bands, in that in between time, and then so that was my first album since then, and I love that album too. I still do songs from that album. Real Life Love is probably my latest record. And I think there are some beautiful songs on there. There's a song on there that I wrote years and years ago about the first time I ever went to New York called John Lennon Lived Here, which I still do in my set now. But I have a new album, Sarah, that you haven't heard yet.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to hearing more about that. So tell me about that. Are you just writing it? Are you recording it? How close are we to hearing this magical thing?
Well, it's all done, recorded and ready to go. And this is the year. So I'm hoping we start putting stuff out in the next few months. And then the album I'm hoping to drop kind of late summer.
So we just had a big announcement there then.
Yeah, it's pretty exclusive. Yeah. It's called Living Arrows.
Love it.
Yeah. It's based on a Khalil Gibran poem, which is called On Children. And it's basically about children, what it's like to have children, and how you have to let them go. So it's kind of likens the pulling back of the bow and letting go, to letting your children go into the world. But because really this whole album is a little bit of a roadmap to life for my kids. But I also like it's the same thing with songs. You do the same thing. You write these songs, you let them go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really exciting. Can you tell us any song titles? Are there any duets? What can you tell us about it? What style is it? What genre?
There are some kick the doors down bangers, as you would expect, pop bangers.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I produced with a guy called Jake Gosling, he's the guy that discovered Ed Sheeran, and he's like, he's worked with Harry Styles and all these amazing artists. He's like an A-list producer.
Yeah.
So this is quite a kind of a modern sounding record.
Hmm.
There are some kind of cathartic songs in there that had to be written.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to a certain age and you have to start look back and face certain times in your life. And songwriting has always been my therapy, you know. So that catharsis was kind of like, you know, written out via song. And there are some quite, you know, darker, deeper subjects in there that you know, I really wanted to talk about. So it's an interesting album for me, I think, you know, because there are songs that I think people will be emotionally triggered
Yeah.
by, as well as, you know, songs that will be self-empowering and make you get on the dance floor, hopefully.
Wow. It sounds like a really special project and a personal one too, then.
Very much so. Very much so. There's songs that had to be written.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had
How
to
long
come out.
how long have you spent working on that?
A long time,
Yeah.
actually. It is, yeah, we started it before pre-COVID.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I'm excited to get it out there.
I'm excited to hear it. And will there be like things like music videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, we've already made a couple,
Brilliant.
and there will be more. And this gig that I told you about earlier on at the O2 Forum, Kentish Town, on the 31st of May. And it's going to be a little bit. I mean, it is a celebration of like, you know, my career. So it's like the tagline is "Let's party like it's 1991."
Yeah.
Which is why I'm going to bring out all the old songs and stuff, but I'm also going to be playing a lot of songs from the new album, and it will be a bit of a kind of I don't know, a launch pad for that. So like almost like an album launch party, you know?
Amazing. We'll have
Yeah,
to
it's
go
gonna
and
be
get
fun. I've got
tickets and
Yeah, you should come. I've got Nick Kershaw playing with me, and a couple of other special guests I'm about to announce, and great support acts, and it's just going to be a fun night, you know?
I even like the
Does it become
poster.
poster's great, isn't
It's
it? That's
good.
my friend Fiona, who has worked with me, doing all of my album covers, and she designs all of my stuff, like did the website, and I love Fiona. A big shout out to Fiona at FJ Designs, and she absolutely nailed that poster.
It's really good. So yeah, everyone
Yeah,
needs to get online and buy tickets to that.
yeah,
After I
absolutely,
have.
please. Yeah, make sure, Sarah, you get yours first. Yeah, get your tickets,
Mm.
and then put this out, just in case
That's just
they
occurred
all
to me.
sell
That's the
out.
best thing to do. I might have made a massive
Yeah,
mistake there. Just drive everyone to get them in 4 seconds.
yeah. Well,
Mm.
listen, if it sells out, just come back to me, and I'll sort you out, love.
Oh, do you know something? That's amazing.
I know someone involved, so yeah.
Oh wow. The
Yeah.
the graphic designer.
Yes,
For
the girl who designed the poster.
some reason they gave her the tickets.
She's in charge of all that stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. And so I'm going to take a step backwards quickly before we go forwards again to that stuff. You once did an amazing flash mob in Manchester. Can you tell me how that came about? Did they approach you with that idea? And also, I must say, there's not enough flash mobs these days, and we need more of them again.
Well, I agree. I do love a flash mob, and they came to me with the idea, and I was like, maybe we need an orangutan, you know? So they were like, "You want an orangutan?" I said, "Yes, I want a real orangutan as part of the flash mob, and that's the only way I'm going to do it."
Yeah,
So, you know, bless them. They got an orangutan,
a gorgeous one,
and beautiful. His name was Charlie.
bright orange.
I mean, most orangutans are, but he was very well behaved, and he was a good dancer. And we had a whole load of dancers actually around. It was somewhere in Manchester, I believe it was.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. Yeah,
yeah, it was fun, and that's all on YouTube as well. It's another reason to go to my YouTube page.
YouTube's really good. It's got you on it and this.
And monkeys.
Yeah,
Oh, so it was not monkeys, an orangutan. Sorry.
yeah. That's offensive to. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I just
I
don't. I don't
imagine.
want you to be bombarded with people correcting
Mm.
me.
They'll
You
go
know,
bananas.
yes, it will. It will. Where do you go from that joke?
I don't know. It's a slippery slope, isn't it? I don't know.
On that bombshell.
Some might find it appealing.
You keep coming.
Yeah. The alarming thing is all of this is pre-written. I anticipated you'd say every one of these things.
Yeah, you did your research.
I
It's
did.
good.
So you recently were an unexpected star of the show on Michael McIntyre's Big Show. And for anyone that didn't see it, you go into this high security vault. You're told that you're picking up a gift from your record label, which turned out to be a leather jacket, your original 1991 leather
Yes.
jacket.
Oh, you mean this little beauty?
I do indeed.
Right. Right.
It's,
Okay, I'm
it's
just
a
gonna
good
put it
thing you
away again.
retrieved that.
It is. Yeah, so carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, so how did that come about? Were you just in the country at the time, or did you literally fly over for this? How did they explain it to you? And were you at any point suspicious up into the point where you're doing the Macarena?
Yeah. Well, I knew nothing about it. It was an absolute shock, the whole thing. I was in the country at the time, and I was in London with my manager, who, I had no idea, had planned this with my wife, my son, my band, rest of the team. They'd all known for a couple of months and had been furiously planning behind the scenes. And I don't know how anyone didn't let it slip. I had no idea. Um, and so, yeah, I turned up at this place in London thinking I was collecting some kind of, relic from the early 90s that my record label had kept for me. And walked in. First of all, I got out of the taxi and this security guard said, "This way, Mr. Hawkes." And I followed him in and went through a metal detector and entered this big room. And there was a big burly security guard on the side. And I was like, "Hello, mate." And he just went, and I thought, okay, that's a bit weird. And I was giving my manager a little bit of a side eye, kind of like, what is this, And then, of course, she made me do the Macarena. I didn't know I was doing the Macarena. I thought it was a body search
Yeah, of
scanning
course.
thing. I mean, I fell for it hook, line, and sinker, and I must have like a right twat. But, in the theater, they were playing the Macarena while I'm doing this, which was great. And then they led me into this vault and they gave me a key and they said number 16 and just go in there and help yourself. And I knew something's going on, obviously. Do you know what was going through my head?
Mm,
I thought that my manager was putting me in the Big Brother house.
really?
Yeah, I did. Because there were, it wasn't like a solid vault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a bit janky. But anyway, so I opened the thing and there was my jacket and with a little note saying, "Put this on." And as I put it on, the whole walls came down, and then I'm suddenly confronted with Drury Lane Theatre with 3,000 people all screaming and lights and everything else. And it was like an assault to the senses. And the first thing I saw was my son
Yeah.
with a guitar, and I was like, okay. And then I turned around and saw my brother on the drums. I was like, right. And then I just kind of focused in on the crowd and I saw my wife. I was like, "You're not even supposed to be in the country." And then I saw Michael McIntyre and I was like, oh, okay, I just think I know what's happening here. And then I heard the one and only start and I looked and the guitar was right in front of me and I just put the guitar on and the rest was kind of like muscle memory, I just got through it,
Yeah.
kind of.
So no one told you to start performing. You just
No,
assumed you
I hadn't
had
even
to.
warmed up my voice, I
Right.
normally every gig I warm up my voice, The only gig for the last 20 years that I haven't warmed my voice up was in front of 7 million people.
That's the best way to do it.
Just jump in, Sarah. Just jump in.
But that's when you found out you don't actually need to.
Well, exactly. So since
Yeah.
then, I haven't done it.
You're just being paranoid. It's just the vocal coaches make
Yeah.
more money by telling you to do that. But it turns
Yeah,
out you're already warmed up.
exactly. It was like I guess the warm up is like a little bit of a comfort blanket in a
Yeah.
way because I've done it for so long. I think it does help me. It's like you have to have a routine, before a gig, but apparently not. But
It's good to know
my
though.
routine, my routine is doing the Macarena. I've changed it all now. I just do the Macarena before a gig.
Yeah, put that on, put your jacket on, get shocked by
Yeah,
several trillion people in a theatre.
that's my new regime.
That opens your throat up.
Yeah, it opens something up.
It's a good thing we don't have smell-o-vision on tellies. He was
Yeah, I think that's coming.
surprised. Yeah,
I was, I was surprised. Very, very shocked. It was like having a birthday surprise on steroids, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
It really was. I mean, it proper shock. I'm still a little bit like, wow, did that actually happen? You know, it was pretty amazing. It's great fun.
Yeah, it must have been a really special moment seeing your family on the stage with you as
Yeah,
well. And
it
imagine
was
the
having
adrenaline must have been going, realizing you're performing in 0 seconds.
completely. Yeah, it was no time for nerves though. It was just
No.
like, yeah, just do it. I mean, was. I tell you what, it was a very, very special moment to have Indy on stage with me, my boy. He plays with me all the time anyway, but that was so beautiful, like a real father son moment, you know, that I was emotional anyway. But then when I saw him, especially how what a great job he did with the solo and everything, and you know, I'm down on my knees and I'm looking up at my son, and I, you know, just nailing the solo to the one and only. That was a moment I'll never forget, I have to say.
Yeah, it was a really special moment. And I was beaming watching it on the telly when it happened. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Were you
yeah, it
at
was
any
good.
point during that? I appreciate you didn't have long, but were you at any point tempted just to start singing anything else?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, in hindsight, yes, I could have gone up and started singing my jazz fusion album or something.
Yeah,
Sorry, this is
surprise.
all I do these days, guys.
Yeah.
I don't sing that song anymore. So, you know, that just happened with Eric Cantona just before, hadn't it?
Mm. It would have been like it was a double surprise because you were surprising them.
Exactly.
And then Michael McIntyre's family comes out and you're in on that joke.
Yeah, I should just be in on all of his jokes from now
Yeah,
on,
you should.
like a lucky rabbit's foot.
I think you should. Absolutely. Highly recommend it. So you've also very recently been on Comic Relief, part of the W1A sketch. You're with Rusty
Yeah,
Lee,
it was. Rusty Lee. She
legend.
is a legend. Beautiful soul, the best laugh ever, and just
Yeah.
a national institution.
Hmm.
I'd never met her until that moment, and we just got on like a house on fire. She was so lovely. I can't tell you how beautiful she was. Like just the best. And we swapped numbers and we stayed in touch.
That's brilliant. It was such a
Yeah.
fun moment. And so you're also raising money for organizations like Waves Music Therapy, which is really great.
Yeah, that's kind of a, a lovely charity that I'm involved in because I've done music therapy over the years or helped in with music therapy charities over the years. I started with Nordoff Robbins. And I've done, you know, literally worked with kids, just playing guitar and bringing in instruments to kids that have disabilities. And it's beautiful how music can, you know, pick them up and you know, bring them something, you know. And I remember I had a blind and deaf boy sitting on my lap, and I put the guitar onto his lap and had him touch the guitar, you know, and I was playing the guitar, and his expressions were just priceless, you know. He was like looking around, and he kind of really perked up with the vibration of the guitar. And the girl that was looking after him said, "Oh my God, I've never seen him do that. I've never seen that before. This is amazing." It was almost like a breakthrough, you know.
Yeah.
So I've firsthand seen, you know, the beauty of music and how it can affect people in ways that are unexpected. And so,
Yeah.
music therapy has always been a bit of a passion of mine, and so this is Waves is a relatively new charity that I've been involved in, and I wanted to bring, you know, help them and bring attention to them because they were part of the Comic Relief family now. So
And it's such a special thing. And you've worked with Relief before on Let's Dance. And of course, the sketch you're in is looking for a replacement for Lenny Henry. Would you ever
yeah,
consider hosting that show in the future?
if they'll have me, Sarah, of course, I would love that. I've done a little bit of work with Lenny Henry over the years. Last year, I did a sketch with him for Comic Relief where I got to beat him up, which was quite fun. You know, he's he's probably a head taller than me,
Right.
and they did this really funny scene where he had to go around telling celebrities that there was not enough time left on the show for them. So it was Tom Holland, it was Ian McKellen, it was Vic Reeves, it was Lulu and me, and I can't remember the other people, but everyone had their own little sketch that they were doing that was really funny. Like Lulu was like, "No," she did this. She was hilarious. And oh yeah, Vic Reeves, he opened the door to Vic Reeves and he said, "I'm sorry, it's not enough time." And he just banged him over the head with a saucepan and then slammed the door in his face. And my one was I was so annoyed that I was looking for him and I was stomping up down the BBC corridors. And Lenny was like hiding from me. And it's not Hawks, is it? And he was like hiding away from it. And I eventually caught up with him and I literally picked him up by the collar and picked him up like that. And they had this scene where they showed his shoes dangling, which I thought was hilarious. So that was fun. And and then this year, there obviously it was between me, Rusty Lee, Bluey, and Pudsey the bear to take over.
Yeah.
The great Sir Lenny Henry of
It's quite
Comic
an X
Relief.
Factor final, that, isn't it? I'd watch that.
Yes, it would be.
It would be.
Do you think Bluey would sing? I don't
I
know.
hope so.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If not, it helps you.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true.
I think so.
Yeah, because I can sing,
You're very good at it.
Yeah, thanks. I've
You're
been doing it long enough.
You have. Just to clarify for people, that doesn't always help. So I've basically been singing since I was born as well, but I'm not good.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that is true. Some people are not very good at singing,
No.
no matter how much you practice.
Though in fairness, some people are worse than me. So I'm okay. I can get by.
right.
I'm all right.
Right. You're kind of like a middle of the road
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
Like if you heard it, you'd be like, that will do. That was sort of like the thing you were trying to do. I can sort of tell what that song was, maybe.
Right.
As long as you can see it on the TV at the time.
And what would be your karaoke song? What's your go-to?
I've got, well, it wouldn't be this now, but I have a situation where that happened. So I used to go to this nightclub basically every day when I was a student, and on Mondays or Tuesdays, it was karaoke night. And what would normally happen is you'd put your name in this bucket and with whatever song you decided to do that night, and we didn't really put a lot of thought into it. And then you'd go have drinks for 5-6 hours, then go up on stage and perform whatever it was. And everyone was drunk. No one cared what you were doing. And
didn't really matter. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd had quite a few drinks. Anyway, this one night I put my name in the bucket, go up to get a drink at the bar, called me immediately.
Straight away. No drinks.
Straight away. And I did Bare Naked Ladies song 1 week, which is famously quite fast. And I don't know why I went for that. But
yeah. Good. Yeah. So is that now your go-to? Is it, or is it not?
No,
you just don't do karaoke
I went
anymore?
to. Now I've gone from that.
You went to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did like a bunch of different, like we'd do Britney Spears or Under the Boardwalk or just any random song that we're like, we'd do that one tonight. And we didn't really give it a lot of thought. And sometimes my friends would come up and be like backing dancers and we'd just play around and have fun.
Yeah. The last karaoke song that I did was Chocolate Salty Balls.
Oh, wow. South Park.
That is true story. Yeah. A Chef classic. Yeah.
Isaac Hayes followed me on Twitter.
He did.
He did.
You have some serious support, don't you, Sarah?
It's all right, actually. I'm very lucky.
Pretty good.
I think generally my 5th guest on my show was Tom Cruise.
It's amazing. It's so great.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm the most successful, unsuccessful person in the world, I think. So stupid.
Well, I'm obviously in good company, so I know. Well, I'm very happy to be here.
I genuinely only, because my interviews take me a lot of time, I'll watch or listen to everything the person's ever done. If they're an author, I'll read all the books or whatever it is. Right, so I'm going to be spending at least a week researching the person. So I need to love everything that they've done. So, I pick my guests, and I always would have loved to have chatted to you. And I'm very excited that this is lined up and we've been able to. Yeah,
it's been really fun.
It really has. And there's a bit more if you don't mind.
No, keep it coming.
There's some more stuff. I've got 8,000 more. No. So the record, incidentally, is 5 to beat.
Oh, you've got, who's been on 5 times?
2 people. Comedians Catherine Ryan, who was my very first ever guest, and comedian Joe Lycett.
Oh, fantastic. Do you get like a plaque or something like that? Like if you do
so,
Sunday brunch, you get a mug. There's a 5-time mug.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to do a plaque just because there's the bad connotations with dental problems. But yeah, I have fridge magnets. You can get one of these.
Let's see. I so want one. So I don't
I'll
get one
send you
until
one.
I've
Do you
been
want
on
one?
5 times. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, but I mean,
you can
so
get.
I
That's
can
not
do.
for 5 times. That's you get that now. Be
That's
on my
just
show.
for a one time,
Yeah,
one and only. Yeah.
free
Okay.
magnet.
Well, I mean, thank you. I don't know what to say.
Just say you want the magnet.
I, I want the magnet,
Okay. Yeah,
please.
I'll totally send you a magnet. Yeah, I literally, it's a fun thing. So my rule is that if you've been on my show, then you get a magnet. And also, I carry a small amount of them around with me. So if you happen to bump into me, and it doesn't always happen, but sometimes I do get
Yeah,
recognized. And if someone says they're a fan of my show, they get a magnet.
I love it. It's perfect.
Yeah,
It's a great idea. Get a
I think
magnet.
so.
Yeah. It's a good giveaway that because here's the thing. I think, you probably spend most of the time would be in the bedroom, wouldn't it? I reckon kitchen would be the next room that you spend the most amount of time in.
Yeah,
So to be on people's fridges as they're going to get the milk for their tea, and they're like, "Oh, it's Sarah O'Connell show." I think that's pretty great.
thank you very much. Yeah, the logic was that, if you give someone a business card, it's just going in a drawer or in a bin or something, but
Yeah.
magnet's a bit more substantial.
It's a really good idea. I love it and I approve.
Brilliant. Well, I'll send you one of those then. I'm just going to put Chesney Hawkes on the envelope and just hope it gets to you.
Oh, it probably will. Just
Yeah.
put Chesney Hawkes, the world.
The world, yeah, they'll know. Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
just
draw a
in
little green
case
and blue blob so they know which one I mean.
that will get there. I reckon it will.
I think so. One question I ask everybody on the Sarah O'Connell show is, can you tell me a fun fact about yourself, something we may not know, a hobby, a party trick, something like that?
Um. Oh, well, I was Billy Ocean's paperboy. How about
Oh,
that?
wow.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's very
He was,
impressive.
yeah. I literally he lived like 3 roads along from me, and I used to deliver his papers. He was a
That's
good tipper.
amazing. Oh,
Yeah,
really? What's
yeah.
the best
Like,
advice he ever gave you?
no, that's a good question. I think possibly you need to get a bigger bag for the Sunday papers.
That was a good tip. Excellent tip, I
Yeah, it
think.
was. He was
Yeah,
right. He was right there. Yeah.
it
Or
was.
get a better bike like a chopper where you could fit it over the front of it so that
Yeah.
it'll all fit. Yeah. Good
So,
advice. Billy's good at those kind of advices.
I think so. You see, sometimes in American sporting events, they have those T-shirt launches, and they'll launch them into the audience. Maybe get
I love
newspapers for
those.
that.
That's a good idea. I've always
Mm,
wanted to try one of those t-shirt launchers. Maybe I'll get one for the Kentish Town gig.
you should. Then you.
You know what, Sarah? I might actually do that.
Oh god,
I
that'd be
might actually
amazing.
do that.
That's when you find out you've done it a bit too close. And at basketball games, they're normally about 1,000 foot further back. Take out the first 4 rows or something.
Yes, could be dangerous.
Worth trying though, I think.
I might do it. I'm really up. I'm gonna literally, as soon as I'm finished with you, I'm gonna go on Amazon and see if they sell t-shirt launchers.
Fingers crossed for that.
I'll try it first at Butlins, and then if it works at Butlins, I'll do it at the O2.
They won't notice at Butlins. I've had some
No,
messy weekends at Butlins. It's fine.
no, you could literally put anything in it at Butlins.
Yeah.
Suggestions.
It's interesting. Full pack
Yeah,
of
exactly.
WKD blue or something.
Yeah, that'll do it. I've seen some sites at Butlins. And
Yeah, I can
but
imagine.
I do love Butlins. I have to say, they are nowadays they are some of the best gigs you can do. For a
Mm,
start, the stage and the crew and everything are really, really good. It's really high quality.
yep.
But you've got like always you have an amazing crowd. So it's like no matter what you're doing, you walk on stage in Butlins, it's always going to be the funnest gig. 3,000 people just going crazy.
Yeah, they do really good weekends there. I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah. The adult weekenders are really fun. People seem to leave their inhibitions on the door and
Mm,
just come along, and their clothes sometimes.
yeah, yeah, I can remember.
I did have, actually, I did have this one moment. This is one of my favorite moments at Butlins, where we're on stage and I was playing with the band, and this guy managed to get on stage. He was about 6'6", skinny guy with a Mohican and tattoos all over him, and all he had on was a sock on his cock, and he was just on the stage, and the security guards were trying to get him, but he was so wily. He was like, you know, he's trying to avoid him. And every time the security guards kind of like missed him, the crowd was like, "Way!" You know, and the four of us just kind of like backed off to the back of this back by the drums, just watching it all go off. And we just looping as kind of a solo moment, instrumental moment, and watching it go on. It was probably Benny Hill theme, you know. And he was going between the security guards, and one point, you can imagine they're not exactly elite, these security guards. At one point, security guard was on his knees, you know, and the guy eventually he got herded right to the front of the stage, and all these security guards were coming into him, and he just didn't have anywhere to go, so he just leaped into the crowd, and the crowd just kind of, you know, parted, and he just hit the deck, and all the crowd went, "Oh!" And we all went, "Oh!" And then suddenly he pogoed up, and everyone, "Way!" And he disappeared off into the crowd. So that's a classic Butlins moment for you.
Spectacular. Yeah, that's just a standard afternoon at Butlins.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think he tours now. He goes to all of them, like he's on the posters.
That would be good. Yeah. I haven't seen him since, but at least I don't think so, because I wouldn't recognize him with his clothes on.
That's a problem. Well, you'd recognize his sock.
Yeah. It was size 13.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Good God. So this was all planned as well. I knew this was happening.
Oh yeah, this is all planned. You knew it. You knew it was coming.
It is. This isn't a question. It's just a statement. I saw you perform at Jumping Jacks in Southampton in 2002. It was so much fun. And I met you afterwards, and I've got a signed CD from you and your brother.
Wow. Did we get a selfie or something? No, it has been before selfies, really. Did we not get a picture? Oh,
yeah, my friend didn't used to do that back then. He used to just play Snake in colour.
Yeah, exactly. Remember Snake?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so we've actually met. That's
we
wonderful.
have actually met.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love that. Yeah, do you still have the CD?
I have. It's in my mum's house, so right. I need to retrieve it.
Yeah, and Jumping Jacks, weren't they fun?
I used to love
Jumping Jacks. Yeah, and actually, the Southampton one was great, because I think we played that a couple of times.
Mm. Yeah, it closed in like 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is indication of how much I used to go there. I'm genuinely still friends with about 15 or 20 of the staff.
I have a good memory of a Jumping Jacks Southampton where Matt Letizia turned up.
Most days.
He apparently the One and Only was his favorite song.
Yeah.
And he came backstage, and he was just like, he was like a fangirling on me.
I remember him, and he would go up to the bar, and I don't know if you ever needed to bring money with him, because everyone would just buy him drinks and stuff.
Yeah, of course. It's Latiz.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was an amazing footballer. He really was. Yeah. So good memories. And so maybe we could go and have a cup of tea.
That'd be good. Final question. Have you got any messages for your fans around the world and people watching the Sarah O'Connell show?
I mean, just first of all, I want to say, if you've discovered Sarah O'Connell because you wanted to see that you came via me, then I'm very, very happy that you've discovered her, and you should go and check out all of her other stuff.
Thank you very much. Chesney Hawkes, you're an absolute legend, and I'm so excited that I've finally been able to celebrate your career a little bit on my show. And of course, you're welcome back anytime, of course, to talk about your new album when you can talk more about it and when I've heard it and things like that.
Fabulous.
Amazing.
This has been so fun. I really have enjoyed this. It's a very unique show, and I've enjoyed your company, and would love to do it again.
You're welcome back anytime. You're the best. Loved you for decades, and you helped me get through my English GCSE. So thanks for that. And several nightclub appearances.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on my show, and thank you to everybody watching at home. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave lots of lovely comments. I'll see you all again soon for another episode of the Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
Wow, look what I just did.
This is incredible. So you're telling me if I...
Oh my God. That is wild.
Wow.
Thank you, little Mr. Effects Man in my cupboard.
I appreciate it.
Who knew? I appreciate it. I obviously don't pay him enough, because that was quite spectacular.
This
What
is
an
the
ending.
highest budget one of these I've ever had. This is tremendous. Wow.
Lots of love,
See you
Sarah.
later. Bye.
I am the one and only. Nobody I'd rather be. I am the one and only. Subscribe to the Sarah O'Connor Show with me. Not a degrading moment. It was my highlight of my career.